Good afternoon. Good evening, everyone. How are we doing this magnificent Music Monday? Now, I'm gonna lie, it's been a little upsetting. We haven't been able to do one of these in a hot second. But we made it up last week by doing a Music Tuesday out of the blue. For those that are curious, I went to an open mic, singing open mic night a couple of the previous nights. Couple of the previous weeks, and as much fun as those were, I don't think, unfortunately, I'll be going back. I have a new full-time job I'm going to be applying for, or not applying for. I do have it, and I need to. I can't unfortunately attend that anymore because it started before I get off of work. But these streams shouldn't be changing too much. I think the only thing that'll change is we're going to probably be going from 8 to 10:30 now, instead of the 7:30 to 10. So we're just sort of shifting a half an hour back. That's just because the timing of everything, just timing-wise. But yeah, welcome on in, everyone. This is a fun day. If you guys were here last Thursday, we had a really big party for the 10-year anniversary of the YouTube channel, which is really bonkers to me that we reached 10 years and we're still going. And then we also did a release party for Deep Space. Now I didn't focus on Deep Space nearly as much as I wanted to, so I just sort of want to take a bit of time at the beginning of the stream to sort of talk about Deep Space and sort of my thoughts behind it. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and turn on the music because it's a little loud. But yeah, I am super happy with the release of Deep Space. I think the social media push of Deep Space was also really beneficial, and I haven't done it yet, but I need to put some money into doing an ad slot for Spotify as well, which I think will also be very beneficial for the album and will be really nice to do. This year I'm really focused on doing pushing, because I mean I can write music. I can do a really good job of writing a soundtrack, a symphony, anything of the sorts. I just need to get more people to listen to it, and I'm willing to shill out a couple dollars here and there in order to make that happen. So that's sort of the whole. That's currently what like the after plan is. But in all honesty, I think Friday I uploaded the last short that I had planned, which actually, why not? Okay, we're gonna take a quick second here to watch what I call Deep Space the movie, which is basically all the shorts in chronological order. So let me go ahead and pull that up very quickly, because it is really good. I had a blast getting all this stuff ready. It's under shorts. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Let's go ahead and let's just take a second to go over Deep Space and sort of where we came from and where we ended up. So this is where it all started. This is the promo called Activate Deep Space Protocol. I'm really happy with the way this turned out because it took a lot of editing, thought process to figure out how I wanted to debut the release date, and it just came out phenomenally. So overall, that was a real good introduction to what Deep Space was. I uploaded it sort of out of the blue because I think by this point it was like August like 2nd or 3rd. Like we were a couple days into August. I already knew that I wanted to release it like in August. I just hadn't figured out when. And I spent pretty much all of July just working my absolute ass off for work, working 6 days a week, just under 40 hours. I was getting kind of pissed off at work that I couldn't be working on this stuff. So when August hit, I was like, okay, first things first, I am finishing up Deep Space. I am mixing everything. I am going back through tracks. I am making sure that everything sounds perfect. So that's what I did for like the first week of August, and I sent it to the publishers, and sent it off. And then it was after that that I realized I need a way to market this. So I compiled this together pretty quickly in like a day, and I was really happy with how it turned out. The 90s computer type feel. I wanted it to feel like you were in a computer terminal and you were. I feel like it conveyed the album very decently. Who am I? Noah Orona. Activate Deep Space Protocol, which is just sort of what I called it. Activate it? Yes. And then we get a full debut of what the album art is, as well as a release date. So that was sort of my whole idea for the first thing. And going back, if you guys have been here for one of the music live streams where we were working on this album, you'll know I had a whole story prepared beforehand. Let me pull it up very quickly. So we have the Deep Space OST document here, which has all the tracks listed here, as well as a whole synopsis of the story, basically going over the like what my thought process was for like what every track represents. And my goal was, I wanted to convey the story somehow, since it's not very clear. You can sort of follow along very vaguely with the titles, but I wanted more. I needed more explanation in case people wanted to do some more deep digging into what the soundtrack is. So that's where we enter what I call the space journals, the daily logs, I'll say. So that's going to lead us right into the first one. I want to tell you a story. You're probably not going to believe me, but I found life among the stars. Let's back up a bit. One night, I was sitting in my room listening to the satellites through my computer. Out of nowhere, I heard it. A cry for help. Attached were coordinates to where the signal was coming from. Hearing these cries, I knew what I had to do. I had to go to space. I made sure to document my findings, so don't worry. You'll get to hear everything that happened. It's a journey you won't want to miss, so stay tuned. So yeah, the whole idea is every single song has sort of a piece of the story involved in it. Connection started, or what is it? Signal found, connection established, I believe is the proper track title. That is sort of the title track. It's the main theme of everything here. We can hear it in the motifs of the track. It literally is built upon the pieces of other tracks, and it sort of flourishes it all together and creates this beautiful presentation. So I wanted that to sort of be the idea of this story as well. Basically, like, yeah, this is the beginning. This is the exposition, basically, for what the story is here. And so then, I believe originally when I started this with a decent couple of weeks left. I think it was like 2 to 3 weeks until the release day, and I wanted to do every other day. That way, I wasn't forcing myself to edit late at night. But then I had to do a 48-hour film thing, and I sort of got completely sideswept from that, and I did not do anything for like 5 days, both leading up to the 48 hours and then the post 48 hours, because I was so dead tired from working about 40 of those 48 hours. Anyway, so then we reached day one. Day one in space. It's beautiful. Getting to experience the wonders of space for the first time is truly amazing. All the colors you get to see, the free floating feeling, it's all one of a kind. Traveling through the stars is incredibly surreal. And while the journey started out peaceful, that's not how it stayed. Shortly after leaving Earth, I encountered an asteroid field. It was dense, with rocks everywhere. With all the asteroids around, there was way too many close calls. I was convinced that we weren't even going to make it through originally and that this whole mission was going to be a bust. With just enough luck, I managed to pull through with only minor damages. I'm still following this call for help. I wonder where it'll lead. So one thing I really like about Day One in Space, this style of like promoting, is that first off, it's all audio based, and I needed some like stock footage to put in there. So I believe it's this video. Let me see if there's a description on this. No, not on this video. I want to tell you a story. You're probably not going to believe. Yes. So Nature Relaxation Films has a lot of good stuff in terms of like footage to use. So I really thank that channel for being like sort of the background video for something for people to look at, basically, because I didn't have any like physical material, especially if I'm working with space. I can't go to space on a whim and just record. If I could, though, that'd be amazing, but I can't. So I had to go with what I had to go basically with the only thing I knew that I could do, and that was use stock footage, use anything that I could find on YouTube. And I made sure to try and be as concise as possible with my footage, because I didn't want, obviously, to impede on anyone's work. And I meant to credit Nature Relaxation Films for a lot more than I did. I think it was just because the way I was editing, I was sort of just tossing it up, and then I think I forgot to just put a caption, because by some points I was uploading at like 2 and 3 in the morning, and that just wasn't good. But yeah, no, I love these shots of like the stars. I was really looking for like a starry view from like a really like unpopulated area. I think this shot in particular is from like Joshua Tree. Which beautiful place. But yeah. So what I really like though about these like entry logs is that it really gives you like an idea of like synopsis. Instead of like trying to follow along a journey like a movie, I can just summarize it up pretty easily. So yeah, this is Day One in Space. This was This Won't Be a Smooth Ride. Right? That's what the track is called. Let me just make sure. Yeah, this won't be a smooth ride. Day 3 in space. I made it. So this is part 4. They gave me led to a beautiful planet. It looked as if it was stuck in an eternal sunset. The soft orange light of the sun grazed over the beautiful landscape. In the sky, you could see stars and constellations behind soft blue skies. Looking around, the landscape was beautiful. Trees that towered high, such beautiful leaves, hills that just rolled on for miles and miles. How's the shit show so far? There didn't seem to be any aggressive animals. It was pure peace. What are you talking about? As beautiful as everything was up here, though, I heard voices, and they told me my answers would be much deeper. The stream? Oh, the stream's going flawlessly. Thank you for checking. Things weren't as serene. Thank you for your input, Mr. Bug. Yeah, this is day 3. So one thing I wanted to sort of make apparent is, what does it say? We better be fucking, Gothaming. Yeah, okay. Yeah, one thing that I sort of wanted to like subtly do, and I think maybe it tripped a few people up and make them think like I was missing videos or they were missing videos, is the fact that we jumped from like day 1 to day 3, sort of showing that there's a time gap. And the idea of that was sort of like it takes time to get from planet to planet. I for some reason thought that it would be like I thought for some reason like 48 hours would be enough. I don't even think you can make it to Jupiter in like 2 days. So, you know, it's all like suspension of disbelief. Um, suspension of disbelief explains a lot of the story, actually. Like, there's a lot of nuances and a lot of like things that you could say, oh, like, why didn't I do this? Like, why didn't I do that? It's like, it's just a story, man. I just wanted to tell a story. But yeah, so this one was Why Are We Here? Which, in the context of the story, we land on a planet and we don't know why we're here. We were just told, hey, these are coordinates. We sort of need help. Well, not sort of need help. We do need help. So the titling of Why Are We Here will be called back later by another track. But yeah, I really like the footage for this one. I think this is also by the same group.
I want to tell you a story.
Not same group. Nature Relaxation Films. I think
Day
3. I'm pretty sure they did the day 3 and then the prologue. I think day 2 or day 1. I forget. I think I got that from like NASA or something, because I was specifically looking for like ISS space like footage, because I wanted it to seem like we were in a spaceship and we were moving. And I believe anything that NASA creates, in terms of like video and like photography, is copyright free. Because I believe I used a NASA footage, a NASA photo for Message from Deep Space, so the single. And that was fine. So yeah, that's day 3, and then we move on to day 4.
I heard this strange voice in my head yesterday. It was telling me to go below the surface, and that's where I'd find my answers. Today, I found a cave opening and went inside. The cave was filled with stalagmites and streams of water, similar to something you'd find on Earth. Despite being underground, the cave was lit with a soft blue light. The deeper I went, the more I wondered what I would find. Who called me out here? Why would they need me to go down here? The soft blue light of the caves led the way as I traversed rocky terrain and tight ledges. I found a small opening that led to an open space as large as a cathedral. The sheer scale left me in awe as I began my search. After hours of searching, I found something.
One thing I also meticulously did when making these was finding the right cuts.
Day 4 in space.
Finding the right cuts for the music in order to sort of transition from segment to segment. A lot of this music takes time to build up and to get to like the main like climax of the song. So for these shorts, I really had to like think about like my pacing and how I wanted to convey like the main parts of the song while also not giving away the whole thing. Basically making it a teaser, as these all are. So fun thing about this one, I believe the footage from this came from some cave divers in Mexico. And what I did was I turned some of the footage upside down. So like this footage right here, we're actually looking at the surface of the water, or from underneath the water, not from above the water, basically. This is an underwater cave. I thought it was beautiful, and I thought it would convey the theme really well. Obviously, it's a little flooded. Well, I say flooded. It's underwater. But like there are these moments where it's like when I had like water surfaces in the shot, I basically just took the footage, flipped it upside down to make it look like we were staring down at the water. But I think for like this clip in particular, you can see like bubbles from like one of the cave divers right here.
The sheer scale left me in awe.
But I think what am I looking for? It's like the footage itself is cropped just enough to where it looks like maybe water is dripping and creating like this ripple effect, instead of cave diver bubbles floating up to the surface and creating the rippling effect. I don't know. It's just, that's just sort of what I had to work with, because I really wanted that cave. And so a lot of this footage is raw, and there's a reason for that. It's because the next video, I color toned it, and I made it a lot different.
Day 4 in space. Log 2. I've been searching for hours in this cave, but I found something. There's walls in here with hieroglyphs. These don't look like anything I've seen before. Looking at the wall, I realized they're hieroglyphs telling a story of an alien race. They looked like they were thriving, made a colony here underground. Were they the ones that called for help? As I followed the markings, I found an orb. I picked it up, and before I knew it, it activated. It wasn't just an orb. It was a hologram. A hologram that was left behind by the people that used to live here.
So yeah, this one we all know and love. It's hieroglyphs from an alien race, or ancient race, also known as Message from Deep Space. And so yeah, once again, it's from the same group of footage. This footage is upside down. They're not stalagmites, they're stalactites, I believe. So I just flipped the footage around, and it looks like they were popping out of the water. I was like, that looks pretty cool. So yeah, I used a very green approach to this because when I think of the song, I do think of the Message from Deep Space album cover, which is very green and like black heavy. So I thought, okay, if I were to keep the cave but wanted to like make it a little different, that way it didn't look like a repeat video, or because my problem was if someone isn't following along closely enough, it's gonna seem like they're just watching the same video twice without knowing that it's another part of the story. So I made sure to like sort of change it in a way that made sense. And I didn't do that for a previous video or for a video coming up, but I'll sort of explain the difference. So yeah, that was hieroglyphs from an ancient race. That was part 6. Now we're on to part 7.
Day 4 in space. Log
Or-
3. I found hieroglyphs
No, we're on part
that
6
led me
now.
to an orb with a holographic message. It was hard to make out at first what was being said. I didn't speak the language they communicated in. However, when I picked up the orb again, it scanned me. I think it detected my language, because now the message spoke English to me. The message was from one of the aliens who lived here. He said he was the one that sent the cry for help and the coordinates. He then explained their species was at risk, and that they had to flee to another planet to be safe. He showed the coordinates, and where to find them as they'd probably be long gone before help arrived. With the new coordinates, I made my way back up to the surface to take off.
So yeah, for this one, we color coded it blue or color graded it blue. And for the most part, a lot of it is sort of shared footage between like the last two as well. I don't see it being much of a problem considering the fact that these are just like background videos for like the music and for the dialogue. It's not supposed to be the main like focus, but it is supposed to help you give a clear image as to like what's going on. It's sort of like if you're reading an audiobook, or not reading an audiobook, but listening to an audiobook, and like for some reason Spotify will show you like an image to like sort of associate with that. It's like sort of to help your brain paint the picture, but the audio description is more important than what they're actually showing on screen. So that's sort of the whole idea that I was going for with these background videos. But yeah, that was the holographic message. Now we're moving on to part 7.
Day 5 in space. I landed on this planet looking for answers, but I only walked away with half of them. I started to take off from the planet and make my way over to the planet I was given coordinates for. However, just after takeoff, an asteroid collided with my ship. There was too much damage to move. The engine was damaged from the outside. I realized the only thing to do was fix it before we fell back down to the planet. So I put on my spacesuit and went for a walk. With floating debris everywhere, it was incredibly dangerous. But I had to fix the ship if I didn't want to be stranded. Somehow, I managed to fix it. And getting back inside my spaceship, I was ready to head off and continue my journey.
So yeah, this one was one of my favorites to work on simply because if you watch the video, we do a lot of glitching effects as if like stuff is broken. I think it is most of the same footage from This Won't Be a Smooth Ride from part 2, but obviously it's just got a lot more glitchy effects on it, which are custom made. Those are really fun. I worked pretty hard on them. Let's see if another one comes up. Yeah, that. I was really proud of that and how it turned out. So once I created the first one, I just pretty much copy and pasted it across all the clips very systematically, I'll say. Yeah, because I wanted to make sure that it like wasn't entirely all glitches. That sometimes there were moments where you're like, wait, did I just see that? Is it like, did that actually happen? So it's stuff like that that I find like a real fun challenge. It's like, I have a vision. How am I gonna reach that vision? And yeah, the glitches were just a really fun treat to make. So yeah, that was Ship Malfunction and Dangerous Walk, aka ships busted from the outside, and we had to fix it. I remember the track itself being really fun to make because it's a darker track. And the next one, we are landing on Planet 2.
Day 8 in space. I finally reached the planet where they said they'd be. What I wasn't expecting was to land on a frozen wasteland. Spires of ice towered above me. The wind blew incredibly strong. It was hard to believe there was any life on this planet. That was until I heard the roars of a creature in the distance. It was a real shock to me that there was anything that could stay alive here on the surface, let alone something that sounded angry. I knew I better move if I didn't want to be hunted, so I began my journey looking for any clues that I could find as to where this species went. Day 8.
And yeah, that was We Were Called Here, which is a callback to track 3, which is Why Are We Here? The answer, we were called here. I felt like that was a good way to sort of tie these two together, sort of make a connection of the sorts. They're both planets that we land on with sort of this whole idea of we'll find something here. Overall, like this track is one of my favorites of like a sound design type of approach. It's very sound heavy. You got to be sort of listening for every little detail because there's a lot. You hear the wind blowing, you hear the sound of like ice crystals not forming, but it's very bright and like high pitch. You hear the sounds of creatures in the distance. It was so fun to make this track. We did that live on a previous stream, which you can find over on the VOD channel, which is the one that we're on right now. Yeah. But yeah, as to the video on this one, it's Subnautica Below Zero, man. Like, one of my favorite games of all time. I used it because I couldn't find any good footage of, like, Antarctica or the North, like, region where it was harsh, where the wind was blowing egregiously. Because, of course, nobody wants to be out in that. So I figured the only way I was going to be able to get, like, the footage I want was in Subnautica Below Zero. I just basically turned the weather up like real hard. I set like the bad weather events multiplier to like 4 in the custom game setting. Turned on free cam and just started flying around very cinematically. It was honestly a lot better than I thought to get some of that footage. But yeah. So this is day 8 in space. Obviously we made a jump from day 5 in space. Took us 3 days to get here. And yeah. We're almost done with the series for this one.
Day 8 in space, log 2. I landed on a frozen and desolate wasteland in search of an alien race that needs help. While searching the planet, I found more hieroglyphs. It was incredibly hard to make sense out of them, with a giant blizzard constantly blocking my vision and making it hard to move. I began a mission of finding them amidst the roaring blizzard. These markings led me on a rough journey through caves and up mountains. After hours of searching, I came across a giant stone door in a mountain. Carved into it were statues, like the alien who recorded the holographic message for me on the previous planet. I knew this was the place. Once reaching the door, I had to find a way in. There wasn't an obvious way to get in, but eventually I was able to pry the door open. I found a way inside.
And that's where the Deep Space series ends. There's no definitive conclusion to the story. It's a lot like Worlds Beyond Our Own in that way, where when you reach the Fountain of Wishes, the wishing well, you don't know what his wish was. But in all honesty, I like it that way. People can come to their own conclusions. They don't need to they don't need me to tell them basically what I think. Because while what I think might be the canonical version, I think it's a lot better to let people decide what their conclusions are. It's sort of assumed that you'd find them, but I like to think that it's still abandoned. Like you go in these giant stone doors and you find absolutely nothing. It's not as fruitful. It's not as desirable as an ending, but it still kind of is reality of not every road is going to lead to the end you're looking for. So I like having both those ideas out there. I think it's really interesting, and I like to hear people's perspectives. A lot of people that I've talked to and ask about the ending, they do think that like we do find the aliens. So I guess if I had to give a canonical ending, that would be it. But I'm not confirming anything. But after that, I did release an epilogue.
I want to tell you a story. You're probably not going to believe me, but I just returned from space. I saw the beauties of the universe and the cosmos. I saw the horrors of them too. I went out looking for answers, and I got them. I went from planet to planet looking for an ancient race, looking for any answers for possible life among the stars. And I found my answer. If I were to take away anything from this journey, it's just how small we are in a vastly large universe. I traveled days from one planet to another. I saw wonders beyond my comprehension. And after all this, I can't explain exactly how I managed to do it. I decided to make an album of my journey through deep space and share it with all of you. And I hope that, for years to come, my story lives on, and you all are able to hear it.
I really like this ending. It is a beautiful bow tie to the whole story. And it's what I love, and I made this very meticulously because I went through so many iterations of like what I wanted to say for like an ending. I wanted to start off exactly the same way we started. I want to tell you a story. You're probably not going to believe me, but it's just so cool. And the way we started, it sounds kind of excited. I want to tell you a story. You're probably not going to believe me, but versus this one, I want to tell you a story. You're probably not going to believe me, but it's more somber, it's more reflective. And the more I think about it, the more I sit on the fact that this is now done after almost 2 years. More like one and 3/4 years at this point. We have finished the Deep Space soundtrack. And holy crap, it has been a wild journey. I am incredibly happy for the progress that we have made on this. And it's just been an absolute blast writing the story, getting to bring it to life through the music. I've never once looked at a track and been like, I don't feel like this represents the soundtrack well. Because, in all honesty, I never wrote a track without the intention of, like, putting it in this soundtrack. The bonus tracks were written because I had to do other stuff at the time. And these were very heavily influenced by what I was currently writing. So, Decryption, for example, that was a commissioned piece. And I was just so locked in with Deep Space that I had to write that when I wrote it, it sounded very much like Deep Space, but with percussion and more oomph behind it, basically. Same with Winds of Wisdom. That was for a video game title screen. that I wrote towards the beginning of the year. And once again, I was deep in my focus for the soundtrack, Deep Space, and it just happened to come out very much like Deep Space. So I was like, okay, these two tracks are here. They weren't meant for the soundtrack, but they sound like they fit. They're very sonically related. It's like they're cousins of the soundtrack. So I decided to include them too because they're really good. I really like Decryption. Decryption is one of my favorite tracks I've written. It's just, yeah. It's got the energy that really makes me excited for like a story. But yeah, that was Deep Space, the movie, aka just the description of what it is. I'm gonna upload a full video, basically meshing everything together and then calling it Deep Space, the movie. That will probably be out like on Wednesday or maybe Friday, like a week after the release. I haven't really decided. But yeah, no, it was a really fun time getting to put the story together for social media, for TikTok and Instagram in particular, and YouTube. Everyone who watched it seemed to really like it and seemed to really engage with the story, basically. So I'm really happy about that. And now that that's over, we've got something else on our plate, and that is an OST jam. Holy crap! Yeah, it's happening. We have an OST jam, guys. This started on Friday, but I've been a little busy this weekend trying to deal with some stuff in the background. But now I've got a little bit of time on my hands to start writing. And it's not going to be a whole lot. I've already plotted out the tracks, and it's just going to be like a quick, like 4 tracks, basically. So, we have a new sort of approach to this, and I believe the rules are at least 3 minutes with a maximum of 30 minutes. So we can't be doing another we can't be doing like overly large soundtracks, which in all honesty I think was kind of a problem for us. It sort of hindered us. Like when we do Deep Space, there are 10 tracks. It's not a lot, but it's still like people have to click on that stuff. When I did, or why did I mention Deep Space? Deep Space wasn't an OST jam track. Inside My World, for example, was a how many tracks was that? I think we submitted it with 5, if I remember correctly. I need to look again. Hang on. I'm assuming so. Yeah. Yeah, we released it with 5 tracks because we didn't have Growth is Normal in there. But even then, it's like, I think 5 is a little bit too much. Because then you gotta have people, like, click and listen to your stuff. And it's just a little, yeah. But I think 4 will be a good number. Even if they all are, like, 2 minutes long. It's like 8 minutes of listening, so people don't have to, like, sit for too long and, like, listen to a track. I don't think I'm going to be doing, like, massive overtures. I'm not going to be doing a lot of, like, the stuff that I did for, like, Worlds Beyond Our Own. Simply for the fact that I don't think I have the time, and I don't think I have the necessary energy to try and put into this. Not saying that I won't give it my best, but I think my energy sort of needs to be redirected a little bit elsewhere, and I will give whatever is left to this project. Because I still have ideas. I still have stuff that I want to do. But with that being said, this might not get a full release. It's probably going to go into the Sound of Games Volume 4 with some other tracks. So, unfortunately, 4 tracks just ain't going to be enough for a full soundtrack. Like, 6, I think, for both Worlds Beyond Our Own and Inside My World. But, so here's the theme. Let's start going over, like, what we have to do. One summer night, and this is the picture that we have for it. I like this picture because it's very soft. It's very, what's the word I want to use? Very, I don't want to say emotional, but it's got a lot to it, basically, with just being so simplistic. So, like, for example, it's, like, nearing sunset. No, it's past sunset already. The sun's already down. Lights are on. It's like a lonely pier. We got a girl standing there looking like she's missing someone. And the water's calm. There's no storm about. It's just a beautiful last day of summer, basically. So that's sort of the idea that I'm going with here for this story. And one thing I want to point out is our panel of judges. Look at this. I know Curtis, Chris, and Jan from their work. I don't know Disaster Piece. Yeah, that one's not. That one's. I don't think I've heard of Fez or Hyperlight Drifter, but I've definitely heard of their work. These three, I've played their work before. Yeah, I believe. What are the categories again? Yes, so we have a new category. Impressions, creativity, composition, quality, and storytelling. How well does the soundtrack tell a story within its given theme? Does it evoke a clear atmosphere, mood, or story? Is there a sense of progression of journey? How strongly does the music make you feel something? This category evaluates the narrative and emotional impact of the music itself, not the written description or story provided alongside it. So, much like Deep Space, there is a story on the side, but the music really progresses it forward. It really pushes the story forward, and we're able to hear it. So, I forget what storytelling was in the past, but man, yeah. I'm just super excited because I would love to get some personal feedback from any of these composers, really. And then I don't even know how many more are going to be announced. But the panel of judges, man. The panel of judges is the only reason I stayed up last time for 9 hours straight until we submitted Inside My World. I will never do that again because holy crap, that was the worst night of my life. I think if you go back in the Twitch VOD, you will see I was actually losing it. I was getting delirious. But in all honesty, like, for a competition like this, I do want to put my best foot forward. I don't know exactly what we're going to do for an album cover with this. I'm thinking maybe just this right here. Something pretty easy. I don't even know what I'm going to name this. I don't want to name this One Summer Night. That's pretty generic. But let's go ahead and let's look at what we've got for the composition jam. So I have a small document here. Theme, One Summer Night. Picture description, girl on a pier overlooking the ocean at dusk. The sky is soft blues and pinks as the sun sets. The atmosphere feels nostalgic and homely. This is something that I am very much rooted in. I am very nostalgic as a person. I constantly think about better times and the life that I sort of had growing up. And so I sort of want to lean into that. So for this idea, I thought I would call it nostalgia. And in terms of like thinking for like a game, if this were for a game, it'd be a puzzle game. Very similar to Photographs. Where we explore the past through puzzles, revealing more of a person's life from one special summer night. Now let's get into the story. Track 1 is the opening theme. It's called Nostalgia, and it sets the tone for the soundtrack. A very soft and simple, leaning into pianos and softer synths. Nothing harsh or bright. This is pretty much going to be the idea running through it. It's not going to be very big, very bold. It's going to be very soft, very almost like we're not going to have more than like 5 instruments at a time. That's like the idea that I want for this soundtrack. Next one is called Remember Your Roots. It's an introduction puzzle where the protagonist, into who the protagonist is, where they come from, and the puzzle reveals an old family photo. So it's sort of, once again, playing into that nostalgia. Then we have track 3, One Summer Night, a look into the night where everything changed for the protagonist. It was a day a love interest left for school without her confessing. And then for the finale, it's called Love Finds a Way. A memory all about the time our protagonist shared, all the times our protagonist shared with her love interest. She learns to live with reality, but never let go of her love for him. An optimistic way to end the game. So basically, it's this beautiful, like, sort of, I love you, I can't say it, you're gone, but I will still love you when you get back, basically. And yeah, I really like the idea. It's pretty straightforward and simple. I think we could definitely do it. But in order to sort of get an idea as to what we're looking at, I think it's probably best if we just listen to the Photograph soundtrack first. I've played it several times on stream during the gaming streams, but let me go ahead and break down sort of why I like the soundtrack so much. Okay, so we got Up Here by Ben Prunty. So we're instantly getting this very soft feeling. It's very... It's beautiful. It's very nice. And then we still have synths involved, but they're not, like, very punchy. They're not very big and, like, crunchy. It's just... They're there. They build very softly into the melody and stuff. And so that's sort of the idea that I'm looking for when doing a soundtrack like this is I want there to be like a soft, like, melody. I don't really have like a big preference on instruments besides like piano being like the center of everything. Like I could go for like a beautiful glockenspiel like this, do a part like that, and it would just mesh beautifully. Maybe something like The Alchemist, where it's still very synth-driven, but it's beautiful. And then we get that piano back in there. Dun, 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 dun. It's very soft. It's very beautiful. In like a very like graceful way. So that's sort of the idea that I'm looking for. Another soundtrack that I really like for this is, oh, what's it called? It's called The Gardens Between. This is a game I played on my hang on. Okay, this is a game that I played on my main channel a couple years ago during COVID. I was looking for new games, like new indie games, and I fell in love with this beautiful soundtrack from this puzzle game called The Gardens Between. And I haven't heard it in a hot second, but I remember it was beautiful. And I used to have this in my daily streaming playlist with all my other soundtracks, but I think this music's copyrighted. So unfortunately I had to take it out. But I still love it. And this is a very beautiful soundtrack in the same style as Photographs. A very soft approach to a soundtrack. And I haven't done that yet. So I might get it wrong. But man, if I could get it right, I would want it to sound exactly like this. Just so soft, and gracious, and delicate. It's beautiful, man. Like this style of music actually like makes me like a little teary-eyed because it's so soft. It's so yeah, like it's beautiful. You know, I wish I could create music like this, which is why I want to take this approach to the next soundtrack of just something simple, something very delicate, but something that just tells a story. Yeah, I used to have this soundtrack in my playlist, and I loved listening to it. But unfortunately, it's copyrighted, and I couldn't. I mean, nowadays we don't listen to the video game soundtrack that often because I've gotten to the point now where I have the ability to listen to my own music quite a bit without having to repeat anything or anything. We have where's my music playlist? 6 hours, almost 7 hours of music. So I haven't needed to use the video game playlist, but I still love it. 22 hours of music, man. Stuff ranging from FTL to Minecraft to Planet Coaster to Celeste. What else? There's another game in here that I really liked. Yeah, we have Subnautica. We have Undertale. We have Portal 2. One Doki Doki song, which I found really funny. We had the Spiritfarer soundtrack, which I absolutely love to bits. We have a little bit of the Stardew Valley soundtrack. And then we start getting into my stuff and sort of where I started to add my own music to the playlist. But yeah, I do listen to the video game soundtrack every now and then. I just sort of need to find myself. There's a lot of stuff that's going in my head right now, man. I can't entirely describe exactly what my thoughts are, and I'm really sorry because I feel like a lot of what I do a lot of my music surrounds how I feel and how I perceive the world, but unfortunately, I'm just not. I've gotten better at it for sure, but I am not really someone who is great at describing how I feel, how I see the world. So the fact that I'm able to do music is sort of my outlet. I I can it's one of those cases where I can't say it, but I'll show it. Let me show you how I'm feeling, and then I will play this beautiful piano melody. Speaking of which, we should probably start working on the soundtrack because we've been going for almost an hour, and we've been mainly talking about Deep Space and sort of our ideas. So now that we have this in mind, we have everything that we need. We are good to pretty much just start working. Let me go ahead and pin that on my bottom monitor very quickly so I have that, as well as the document for the soundtrack. So right now we have a project file called Nostalgia. That's pretty much where we are with things. I haven't really worked on it much because I've been so busy. But what I want to do is I want to go ahead and pull out Omnisphere because I need my favorite piano sample for this. I think if anything, the ambient space piano is going to be the beautiful sound of this. Which is pretty funny because I think that's exactly how I ended the soundtrack for Deep Space. When it came down to it and we needed a closing track, I'm like, okay, signal lost. How am I feeling? And I played it on the piano and I just let it roll. So there's a lot that I gotta think about when it comes to how I want to do this. Hang on. I forgot I had Reason open. Let me go ahead and just save that as will do later. I'm taking a sampling class where I have to use reason. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not liking it too much. Maybe it's just because the interface is super weird. But man, it's like I don't like the idea of having to do all of this like work in a software that I'm not familiar with, because it feels like I'm jumping through hurdles and I've also got to learn how to jump on top of it. So it's this whole thing that I'm trying to get better at. But yeah, let's try that again. I don't know, I'm just sort of playing this stuff right now. It's not the most ideal key signature to be playing in, but that's fine. Hmm. I'm gonna quickly go grab a water, and I'll be back in a second, chat. Sorry, I need to go. Or my head's starting to spin a little bit. Sorry, chat. I'll be right back. Sorry about that, chat. I am back. I had to go quickly grab some like ice cold water. Holy crap. I'm not feeling the greatest. I ain't gonna lie. Like physically speaking, there's been something going around, and yeah, I haven't been able to sing, haven't been able to do any vocal recordings recently, so that's been a little bit of a pain. But you roll with what you got. Okay, so I want to sort of go back to this. I can get behind with that being the main theme. I actually don't see a problem with that. Let's go ahead and let's record that very quickly. Let's try that one more time. Okay, so we got like an 8-bar loop. 8-bar? Well, it's definitely not 8-bar. It needs to be slightly faster, which we can definitely do. Yeah, I'll start with that. I don't get why it's like being so crackly with me today. It's not like a big deal, but it is kind of pissing me off. Perfect, so we got our loop here. So it went a little faster. Yeah, this is too bad. Question is, what do I want to do from here? Like, how do I introduce this idea? How do I play around with it? Let's just see what we got here. I'm currently in the... I wouldn't be opposed to doing like something like this, but if we... Because we use this for, what's it called? Sleepless Nights, which I really liked. Where is it? Hang on, let me find it very quickly. That's the wrong one. That's acoustic version.
Wide awake.
So we use Pretty Chaos for the bridge of this song, which I really liked how it turned out.
When the
So just one last night.
It's very soft here. Actually, hang on. Let me take a look at what the instrumentation for that looks like, because I might want to drag that in here as is. I have not opened that file in probably 2 years. Yeah, it's been about 2 years since I've opened up any of the Broken Mirrors files, which is pretty crazy. No, not sketches. I need working. There we go. What's it called again? Sleepless Nights. There you are. Let me just take a quick look and we'll see how that goes. Yeah, I just need the Pretty Chaos, because I think the Pretty Chaos is one of the greatest parts of the album, in all honesty, just listening to it. Where is it? So is it the exact, like... Yeah, okay, so it's Bright Hall, with a lot of decay on it, and it's mixed pretty high. Let me take a picture of these settings very quickly. We don't need to do that. There we go. Shoop. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to toss that into my reference folder. Where is my stuff? Brother. There it is. Okay, hang on. This goes under references. Oh, I can reference it later. But I do really like how this instrument sounds on top of the piano. The piano adds that very spatial sound to it. Hang on, what is that chord very quickly? Yeah, it's just an F chord. F chord? No. Wait, hang on. What key are we in here for this to happen? This could be a B or a G flat, B flat. I think this is a G flat chord. This is a B flat chord. This is a... What the hell am I looking at? Because this really caught my attention. I'm like, why does it sound like that? It's very... What am I looking at? Looking at an F, A flat, C. Oh, so it's just an F7 chord. F minor 7 chord. Very interesting. And then that is a different chord, ain't it? Yeah, because instead of it being an F, it's now a B flat chord. Which is kind of interesting. I don't remember putting in the acoustic version the F minor 7 chord, so I guess I missed that. But that is a really beautiful chord. Or at least I love the way it sits in the chord progression, because I don't normally do stuff like that. So Yeah, that's beautiful. I like I like that a lot. Yeah, it's definitely a flats. Um, anyway, I got what I needed from here. We're going back to nostalgia. Save changes, don't save. Also, for my assignment this week for school, I need to be writing sheet music for spring. So I've been doing that in my free time, and holy crap, every time I look at it, it makes me want to cry because we're working with so many instruments. But that's fine. That's perfectly fine. Okay. What on earth am I doing? I had something. Oh yeah, that's right. I was looking at the reference page. Ugh, sorry. Okay, so we got this. Um, okay, studio. We need Bright Hall. Bright Hall. Bright Hall. Decay goes up to 8.4. And mix goes up to 7.1. 7.1? 7.4. That should be good. No, there's something about it. Hang on, let's go ahead and save this while I go back very quickly and see what I can find. What do you sound different? What's the secret sauce to this? Cause I have no idea. Where are you? Cause these are off. Okay, so that's something. The arpeggiation's a little different. There's an easier way of doing this, fellas. Let's just save the patch. Pretty chaos. We'll call this Sleepless Nights. Pretty chaos, Sleepless Nights. Yeah, something like that. Okay, let's go ahead and let's go back. Look at what we need. We did get what we need, right? I think the last time I opened this project file, I wrote this. I wrote the melody out because I was gonna get a tattoo of like the MIDI data or something. I don't know. It was gonna be like, because before I got this, the official Broken Mirrors tattoo, I wanted to get something to symbolize sort of the project, and I was thinking either the melody of Broken Mirrors, Without You, or Sleepless Nights, since those two I believe are the best of the album. And I just wasn't sure which one I was gonna get until it hit me. It struck me, if you will. Yeah, that's not why we're here. We're here for the plugin, so I think we got what we need. Because none of these other turn on, right? it's also negative 5.3 decibels. I'll make a mental note of that. Save changes. Sure, I'll save changes to this one now. Okay, let's load up the patch. All my category. I need those chords. What are the chords? Is there another piano maybe that we could use? Okay, interesting. Oh, I'll just create the world's best doorbell sound. Anyway. I do like these glockenspiel pianos. They're kind of nice. I kind of like it. I like that pattern, but I don't know where to use it. What the hell is Edison's Rose? Rhodes. Why is it called this? Yeah, I guess I got no definition as to why it's called that. Anyway. I think I used this in Dolphin's Dance. I want to check very quickly because I actually don't know if that's true or not. Uh, is it? There it is. I think it's a different instrument, but similar. Yeah, I think it's a little different, like the slightest bit different. Yeah, but see, something like this is exactly like what I don't want in the soundtrack. It's not. I like that actually. I want to keep that. Where were we? We're at Infinite Celeste. That's it. These sounds are very interesting. I really don't want to be spending my entire time doing this. I think right now what I sort of just want to do is I want to play with melodies. I don't really want to confine myself to one idea just yet, especially because we're not like doing this over like the course of like 48 hours. We do have the time to play around with stuff, so I don't want to lock myself in immediately to an idea that I don't want to cut off my options, basically. I guess is what I'm trying to say. So yeah. Let's just play around. Let's see what we got here. That is an interesting melody. Very syncopated, I think is the word I'm looking for.
dun, 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 dun. It's very jazzy in a way, but sounds nothing like jazz. In nature, that is. Hmm. I don't. So I want to go for that nostalgic feeling, but I don't really know what I want to do with that right now. It's one of those nights where I've been so focused on D Space right now that I just sort of haven't had the time to work on any like new music. The only new music that I've written would be like 2 weeks ago. I think was the last thing I wrote something. So it's been a little while, and frankly, I think the well's a little dry. I think I'm in a creative dry spell at the moment. So I've got nothing I can share at the moment. Actually, let me see. Is there something I can share? That is not. I guess I could share perfectly imbalanced. Better for us, I think. It's been a while since I've listened to Better for Us, but I still haven't worked on it in a hot second. Yes, I know some inputs are missing. But I do really like it. I do really like the song. So we'll share this and then we'll end the stream. Are you my drug? The one that keep me sane? Is that enough? Or will you bring me just more pain? Are you on my side? 'Cause it feels like you're not. You leave me dry and come back like we never fought. The door's unlocked. Or should I leave a mental block and a one-way street? Is it better for us if I slowly disappear? Who can you trust if it's not the ones you hold near? And why do I cling to you? And I fly too high. Without my wings, I am doomed. Yeah, I still really like this song. It's a really good song. You want me to stay, but the pain and all the troubles caused make me restrained. How long until we're too far gone? You're not on my side. I can feel you're not. I now decide to stay or to rot. The door is locked. I should have left. We're both trapped in here, but I'm not done yet. Is it better for us if I slowly disappear? Who can you trust if it's not the ones you hold near? And why do I cling to you? And I fly too high. Without my wings, I am doomed. We're still working on the bridge. Is it worth the risk? Going up in flames or down with the ship? Want to go? I can't leave. You've trapped me here. Now the cycle will repeat. Is it better for us? I don't know, I'm just spitballing ideas there. Disappear. Who can you trust
if it's not the ones you hold near? And why do I cling to you? And I fly too high. Without my wings, I am doomed. Yeah, I still really like that song. I think that song's really I think it's really good. I think there's a lot of real big bangers in this album. So just to remind everyone of sort of where we are with the list right now, we have Finding Yourself, Perfectly Imbalanced, um, Better for Us, and Missing What Isn't Mine. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take out Building Roller Coasters because I think the more I think about it, the more I want that to be a Broken Mirrors 3 song. So, because this is about the embodiment of fear, anxiety, loneliness, and depression. I don't think a song about childhood trauma would really fit with this character, but I think it definitely would fit well with the other character. But that's getting into lore. The lore is not entirely done yet. It's still currently getting written with the story. And that's sort of what's driving the creation of these songs. So, in summary of what we have going on right here, unfortunately, I don't have any new music to share, and I don't know how easy it will be to work on music, but I'm hoping it'll be a little bit easier in the future. Because now I've got sort of a more standard schedule. I will be working full time and then doing school for like another 2 weeks. I can't believe I'm almost done with school. Hopefully, this is my last semester. I say hopefully, because I got like a few things I need to wrap up, and I hope that they can wrap up this semester. Because if not, then I'm gonna have to wait just one more semester. Either way, though, I'll be graduating before the standard 4 years. So it is what it is. Thank you everyone so much for tuning into today's live stream. I know it was a little bit sidetracked. I did want to spend some time talking about Broken Mirrors, which is a really big project of mine. And even though it's not like a blockbuster soundtrack, it's not like as big as like Minecraft Reimagined or something. But the work that went into it was astonishingly high. The music took so much time to write, to perfect, and to like accurately tell a story. Because I feel like it's so hard to tell a story with just music. But I think we managed to do it. And we managed to do it really well. So unfortunately, this is where we're going to leave you guys. I don't have anyone to braid out to tonight. So unfortunately, this is where we're going to end stream. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in. We'll be back on Wednesday with probably some Planet Coaster. Because I want to keep working on the park. And in all seriousness, I've been working on Burke recently. In the background, which hasn't been too interesting because I've literally just been mining a whole lot. So yeah, thank you all so much for tuning in. But unfortunately, I got to know. I'll catch you all on Wednesday. Bye-bye.